Hello, hello, welcome to another episode of Doodles to Dazzle. I'm Charlie,
And I'm Barbara.
and today we've got a very special Halloween themed episode.
Ooh.
And today we're going to be talking about the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone and how fear can be a powerful motivator for growth.
Okay, that was maybe doing a bit over the top.
We gotta get into the Halloween spirit here.
Yeah, since we're releasing the episode on Halloween,
Yes,
we are having a little fun here.
yes. And it's
And hopefully
actually,
you too.
it's funny because it's about a little more than an hour and it's Halloween. So we're working
Yes.
very last minute today.
Yes.
So bear with us. But we want to get this episode to you as soon as possible. So we hope it's going to be very intuitive and insightful for you. And also, let's have some fun with it.
Let's dive in.
All right, so comfort zone.
Yes.
What is the comfort zone?
The place
to the comfort zone. No.
It's the place where we are comfortable. It's also the place where there is no growth whatsoever.
It depends. I mean, but yes,
Usually.
usually or it's
speaking.
very slow.
Yeah. It's a place where you're not challenged, right? So you feel comfortable, you feel good. Maybe you're watching your favorite Netflix show in the sofa or listening to a podcast episode.
Yes.
God knows. But yeah, the comfort zone, it's if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to get to that better version of yourself, then the comfort zone is a place you want to get out of.
Let's talk about some limitations of what it means to be in your comfort zone and why does it hinder your personal growth with being in your comfort zones. We are afraid. We're being afraid of taking chances. We're not going to be as bold as one might be. Say, if you're challenged, if you're uncomfortable, you're used to doing things that are new or things that scare you. But when you're in your comfort zone, you hesitate, you get lazy, or you might find an excuse to not want to be uncomfortable. So that means, yes, you're happy being with the status quo in your life. And maybe life is good, but comfort zone can also mean being in whatever negative state of life you might be in, even if you're not having the job that you love doing. You hate your job, but you're comfortable. It's scary to take chances, to be bold, to be brave. So you're happy being in, well, not, I wouldn't say happy, you're comfortable being in this crappy job that you don't like.
Yes, there's so many people just who are doing exactly this. It's so easy to be in the comfort zone in a bad situation, whatever it is, and to complain about it. This is what most people do, is just being negative or talking about it, why the situation is bad, but not taking any action and being bold and brave.
Yes.
Because it's scary. It's scary to get out of your comfort zone. It's scary to make bold choices. And yeah, to step into the unknown is basically that, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Even in a bad situation, if you've been there for a while, you kind of you can predict what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. That's what makes it that it's in the comfort zone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why at every stage in one's life, everybody has been guilty of
Yeah.
this in one way or the other. Even the most seemingly heroic or bold people who are constantly look like they're going into the most uncomfortable situations, I'm sure they've had moments in their life where they've been afraid of stepping out of the comfort zone. So it's a very human thing
Yes.
to want to be comfortable.
Yes.
And it's not like it's a bad thing, right? It's
Yes.
okay that there are times in your life where you need to be in the comfort zone, where yeah, maybe you don't need to focus so much on growth. Maybe you need to focus on healing, or maybe you need to focus on getting to a better state of mind.
Yes,
And
which
that's
is
all
valid
okay. So
too.
there's no
And,
judgment
and
here.
honestly, that's not really being in the comfort zone, because healing takes a lot of work and
That's
is
also true.
uncomfortable. So,
Yes. But
so
sometimes you
it's a
just need a
little,
vacation, right?
yeah,
And that's
sure,
okay.
sure,
And
that's
that's
fine.
okay.
Then enjoy it, and
Yeah. But that's not why you're here.
No,
You're
that's not
here
why
to
you're
grow with us on your journey of personal development, on your creative journey, on your
here.
artistic
Yes.
journey. That means you are uncomfortable. And you're okay with being uncomfortable. And even if you're not okay, you want to be okay with being uncomfortable. Right? So that's why you're here. So how about we talk a bit about using that fear to start taking steps out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, so basically, I was thinking about this, and in fact, fear can point you in the direction of where you need to go.
Okay.
Because when you're comfortable, it's basically your fears telling you, okay, don't move there, don't go there. It's all these warning signs and alarm bells. But sometimes this fear means that you need to do exactly that, what scares you, because that is something that you care about,
Right.
right? For example, from myself, my own story. I didn't paint for many years. I didn't even dare to step into this direction because I was scared. I was scared. So I closed my eyes. I stayed comfortable for many years. Like we said, everybody can be guilty of this. But this is, in fact, something that I needed to do, something that I wanted to do very much. But I closed my eyes for it many years. So fear, I've learned over the years that when I am scared to do something, that means I have to really consider to do it, because that is what I need to do at that time, and it is going to make me grow some way or another. How's this for you, Charlie? You have moments like this?
Of course, of course. Starting a business, right, is a big one for us, isn't it? Because or when we became parents, before we became parents, that's also a huge one. Of course, it's not a creative journey there, but it's a personal journey, and it's one of those scariest things that one might. It's the scariest steps or biggest steps one might take in your adult life to become a parent, and there's a lot of unknown and a lot of risks and scary things that can come your way, and that's the reason many times many people might not have kids, because they don't believe that they're capable enough, or they don't think they're ready for that sort of thing. And this kind of thing can translate to anything, because people can tell themselves, oh, I'm not worthy, or I'm not ready to do this, I'm not ready to start a business, I'm not ready to be an
All
artist.
the negative
All these
voices.
because of
Yep.
fear, right?
Yep.
Fear
Yep.
can be such a powerful demotivator,
Yes.
but
Yes. But you have to learn. That's exactly the thing. You have to learn to recognize the signal, and okay, you have to place it. Okay, this is fear telling me not to do something. So why don't you just be the rebel and do the thing anyway?
and this doesn't mean you go jump off a plane and
No,
skydive, of course,
you
unless
still use
you
your brain.
unless you want to really try that out as an experience or something.
Do it wisely, then
Yes,
take a
I mean,
parachute.
I would be scared of jumping out of a plane, but it's also not something I want to do. So I'm okay with not exploring that fear or not pushing the boundaries there. But
Yes.
there are many different things in life that I've always wanted to do. For example, starting this podcast was something that I was very, in a sense, afraid of doing, afraid of putting myself out there to openly talk about my experiences, share my personal story. This is something I'd always be a bit scared to do, or it would stop. I would block myself, even though for years I've always wanted to show more of myself, share more of my story. And at one point earlier this year, it just reached a point where I knew that, okay, it was this feeling like, okay, I think I'm going to just go for it and take a step, right? And now here we are doing what is this, episode 11? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's incredible when you take that first step.
Yes.
Where fear was there, but in certain ways, I was afraid of not doing it anymore in my life, afraid of the regret I would have
Yes.
of not taking the step and not doing
Yes.
this for myself.
Yes. I think that's the thing. That's maturity. I think we are in our mid-30s.
Yes.
I am, at least. And the thing is, like, in your 20s, you have all these fears that block you, and you have all these, how to say, all the belief systems that you have built up until that point, that you have to really look at and see what you're taking with you, what are you letting go of. It's such a it's so much in your 20s. You're figuring out so many things there still, right? In your 30s, these things change somehow, and somehow you're like, okay, how much longer am I gonna be scared of this thing? When is it gonna finally happen? Time is starting to run out. If we're not gonna do it now, then
Yes.
when are we gonna do it?
When we're 45.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
but that's the
and
thing.
it's not like there's something wrong with that, but you start feeling like, okay, it's time to let go of this stuff.
Yes.
And it's not anybody else telling you, it's just you getting tired of it,
Yes.
of staying in the comfort zone. You just, for me at least, I know that at one point I had enough of all the negative thoughts, and I'm like, oh, no, this need to be gone. I'm done with this. I think that's a really important part in becoming a full-fledged adult, or somehow
In maturity, reaching a certain level of maturity, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely, because we hear stories of people, especially middle-aged people who are in their 40s, and they have this midlife crisis situation and things like that. And often is because of a certain level of realization that they get perhaps on the things that they've missed out on, because
Right?
regrets and all that coming in, because we end up getting caught up in life, in living life, and being responsible adults, and having a job or having family and providing and all these different responsibilities that come our way. And what happens is that we end up compromising. We end up giving up on our dreams for fear, afraid of risking things, afraid of being seen as irresponsible, afraid of being looked at as selfish, or whatever people might think of you, and all these different things that can block you from realizing that the thing is, the only thing that's in your way from you and your dreams is your fears, your insecurities, and these blocks that stop you from taking chances in life, in being brave, taking some risks.
Yeah, and it just, when you do those things that you actually want to do and need to do, you completely become yourself.
Yes. I mean, there are ways on how you go about it. I'm not saying just dump everything and every important relationship in your life and to do what you dream of. No, have conversations, talk about what it is you need, evaluate where you are and what steps you need to do to achieve your dreams, to feel empowered, to feel good about taking these steps, to overcome these fears, the kind of support system you need, right? So it's really a choice. What do you want for yourself? Do you want to live in fear of regret, of missing out, of feeling like you should have started sooner, or you should have done it 20 years ago when you were 20,
or forever feeling that it's too late now?
Yes, exactly. It's a matter of making a choice, and it's in your hands to take a step towards your greatness. Your greatness. Yeah. So how do we go about this?
Well, first of all, you have to learn to recognize these signals, and this can start with just a very small, seemingly insignificant feeling where you just feel uncomfortable. And you have to, something that I do constantly is question. Question, what am I feeling, really?
Yes.
Go a bit deeper. Like, question, why am I feeling this? What is happening? And what can I do with this? Is this something that I need, or is this something I can let go? So you have to first learn to recognize your fears. You have to recognize where it starts, because sometimes these fears is disguised
Yes.
as something else, like these warning signs to try to protect you from danger, right? And sometimes there is danger that you have to keep in mind, but often when you're talking about these fears, it's a irrational kind of,
Yeah, there's baseless, really. I mean,
there's not really a danger
sure.
involved. So
And the
you have
risk you
to,
think that would go behind such a thing is far lesser than you think it is.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you'd be surprised how if you prepare and do your research and your homework, you can make choices and informed choices without having to feel paralyzed with fear, right?
yes, yes.
So,
Another thing that I think is important to know when you're trying to work on these things, on your fears, is try to first of all do the analyzing yourself about what you really want. When you are talking about things that you're scared of, people will warn you because they want to protect you also if they care about you. So they see that you're being uncomfortable with something, so they will try to help you by putting you back in your comfort zone. It's
yes.
not always bad intent.
No, indeed.
That you have also. You have also people that are uncomfortable with you getting out of your comfort zone, because that means that they might have to look in the mirror and question their choices. So you have, when you're working on yourself, sometimes you have to be a little mindful about what you're sharing to who. You know?
Yes. If you listen to our previous episode, you have a tribe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So be mindful of who you talk about with these
yeah,
things. But I imagine that you have a close knit circle of people that you trust,
yeah,
whom you can talk about your insecurities, your fears, things that stop you from
yeah,
taking risks or wanting to make choices, and being bold for things that you want to do but that you're scared of doing. So it's a good thing that you can talk to a good support group or a
yeah,
tribe of
definitely.
people who can lift you
Just
up.
make your choices wisely,
Yes.
because and this is a fact, most people want to just be in the comfort zone. So they will also want others to be in that comfort zone, because somehow we have a bit of a herd mentality, right, as people.
Sure.
That happens.
Yes. Or
So
they project their limiting beliefs on you
yes,
because they would be super afraid of making these choices themselves, or
yes,
they grew up believing certain things like, oh, you have to opt for job security, you cannot do this, you cannot do that because that would be irresponsible and things like that. So
yes,
you have to be mindful of who you have these conversations with. And another aspect would be to start small with uncomfortable things.
yes. Absolutely. It took me a long time to overcome the bigger fears. So you start with the things that are just on the surface.
Yeah.
You start with those, and you just keep digging, and you never know where you will be in a few,
Yes.
or even in a few months, if you really work on yourself.
Yes.
The results will speak for themselves, and you will feel a whole lot better when you do.
For us, the way it worked was it started with little things. We're just doing art every day back during COVID times. And at that time, it was just a slight deviation from our routine, but enough for it to start making a bit of a dent. And then the more we did it, the more we enjoyed it, and we felt less uncomfortable about it. But that also enabled us to want to challenge ourselves more, learn more, take more courses, things that we would be uncomfortable to do
Yeah.
before. But now it's become such a big routine of how we do things, how we learn and grow and develop ourselves. Even this month, we took the Inktober challenge for the first time, and we've been painting every day, completely original Charbi pieces, both
Yes.
Barbara and I, which
This-
we'd never done before
Yeah.
on
Indeed.
such a scale where we're painting original pieces every day. Whether good or not is a matter of perspective.
You can take a look.
That
yourself.
you can judge for yourself on our social media channels. But and in our opinions, yes, there are days that we did great, some days that were more of a struggle.
Yes.
But the challenge was the uncomfortable situation we put ourselves in was to show up every day, to put a piece down on paper every day, no matter how much we
And
didn't
not
feel
just
like
that,
it.
also publishing it
Yes.
into the world,
Yes, to
no
be seen.
matter
How-
what the result was.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a scale of
A lot of-
commitment, and this kind of a challenge is the first time we've ever done.
Yes, and it's a lot of uncomfortable things there.
Yes, it's
It's a lot of uncomfortable things, and this is a thing. Like we've been working on ourselves now for many years, and for us, we know now that if we're being comfortable, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we feel like, oh, things are going good, we shake things up.
Yes.
We get uncomfortable. We look for a way to get uncomfortable. We take on more challenges. We do different things. We take another course, something. But we get things moving somehow.
Yes.
Because in the comfort zone, we know that things just become slower and slower and
Yes.
slower. And before you know it, you're just sitting days in the sofa after work, then watching the new series of God knows what,
Sure.
and just wasting your time there. And while that's okay, if that's what you want to do, for us, we just feel so much more empowered and so much more ourselves when we are working on ourselves, when we work in our craft, when we're doing different things. So
That doesn't mean we have days where we won't watch
No.
a movie or whatever.
everybody needs to relax
you need
once
to have
in a
a
while.
balance in life.
Yeah.
Yes.
You need to figure out your own balance there.
Yes.
So
Always try the as
There's
we
no
build our
right and
routine, of just getting more and more uncomfortable, it simply came from periodically taking up new challenges and trying
Yes.
new things. Try
Yes.
new things.
yeah,
It can be things that maybe you don't want so badly, but it will be enough to make you a bit uncomfortable. But that feeling will make you grow much more than
Yeah.
you think it could.
yeah, and if I would have met myself, and I would be intimidated with what we do right now.
Yeah,
because,
sure.
I would not think that I would be ever able to do everything that we do today.
Yes.
For sure.
It's funny because this is the first time we're doing the Inktober challenge. However, I've asked this from Barbara a few years ago. I wanted to do
I
this,
did not want to do
but
this.
Barbara was like, "This is not for me," and she had this sort of
Fear.
limited belief
No,
and
fears.
fear
It
that
was totally
it's not for
fears.
her. I could
No.
never do this. I don't want to commit to this sort of
Yeah.
thing, and that's fine. Sometimes you're not ready
it's
for
also
this.
just really scary.
Yes.
Because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yes.
I mean, if you publicly say on social media, "Hey, I'm gonna do the Inktober challenge.
Yes.
I'm gonna paint 31 days," and then you only stick to 2. That's not like no. I don't like that. So
Yeah, at that
it's a
point, she
bit-
just didn't think she could hold
I
herself
didn't-
accountable in that way.
No, because I was scared that I wouldn't be able to make something that was worthy.
Yes,
You know?
because at that time, she was learning to let go that things had to be perfect
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
they needed to be
Yeah.
posted on social media or for it to be
Yeah.
seen. So it's through this incremental growth and being uncomfortable and starting small, occasionally putting up posts of pieces that might not be perfect and being okay
Yeah.
with it. So she grew in so many ways over time due to this incremental phase of getting uncomfortable, being brave, doing something scary.
Yeah. But
And
this is
that
this
helped.
is exactly the thing. Like when we started this challenge, I was really stuck in a new phase again of imposter syndrome,
Yes.
and this is exactly why I took on the challenge.
And how do you feel now?
I don't feel that so much anymore. In fact, it hasn't been on my mind if I think about it now for weeks, because well, my mind space has been occupied not with am I worthy, I'm an imposter, or no, or whatever. My mind has been occupied. Okay, how to get the job done?
And what else have you learned in terms of, okay, I've done this challenge for a month now.
I feel really proud about myself because I did something that I was really scared to do, and I committed to it. And despite challenges, despite being sick, I had a episode where, well, it's still there, like my neck is fully stuck. It literally hurts to hold a brush, but despite that, I still got myself to the table and I got it done.
Yes.
And sure, maybe the pieces are not always of the greatest quality, but I got myself to do it anyway, to not make excuses. And that makes me really proud of myself.
Yes.
And that's a feeling, that you get when you get out of the comfort zone. It's a bit, you feel like a winner, like a survivor. It's very empowering to do that.
Yes.
That thing that you're so scared of. And, when you look back, it feels a bit silly. Like, what was I thinking?
Why would what were you so scared of?
What was I so scared of? This was so silly. I mean, like, how do you feel now?
Yeah,
with
it's the same with the podcast
right?
for me, or even the Inktober challenge. Having done that, when I reflect on all this, I first of all with the Inktober challenge, I'm just surprised. First of all, in learning that my skill has reached a point where I can create complete original pieces in a matter of half an hour to an hour or a few, at the most, in such a short period of time, that are fairly good and decent and far better than where I was. I remember trying to make original pieces going back 4 or 5 years ago. And if I think about what I created then, which came off either looking very amateurish or very childish. So I learned a lot about, wow, in terms of skill, I've come a long way. In terms of the visual library I've built doing so much art over the years that I can paint, and doing the podcast so well now for 10 episodes plus. I feel natural. I feel at peace. I feel calm. It feels organic.
But how do you feel now about the fears that you
Yeah,
have?
the fear seems ridiculous because that was such a huge part of my life for so long, feeling afraid that I don't want to be seen by everybody, even though I want to. I'm afraid of being seen. I'm afraid of
exactly this. You know what
afraid
you
of what
learn?
people might think of me, or I might look ridiculous. And now
It's yeah.
it just feels so natural and honestly doesn't matter. And what matters is what I think of myself.
Yeah.
And being uncomfortable, taking steps and being brave, facing my fears, is just so significantly empowering that there is no words to describe the gains in terms of self-esteem, in terms of self-respect.
Exactly.
That I have had over the last year or a few years. It's been significant, but the last few months also is just significantly higher. I believe like I can do whatever I set myself to do. Whatever goals I might have, I can achieve it simply because of all that I've done to be uncomfortable, to challenge myself, to face my fears. I know whatever comes my way, I'm going to keep at it with that kind of an attitude. Because it has become a part of my lifestyle. It's become a part of how I live my life. And it just started with taking some small steps in the beginning.
Yes.
Consistent steps of being uncomfortable, being afraid, but being brave and facing your fears.
Yes.
One step at a time.
Yes. In fact, I think the biggest takeaway from this is staying in your comfort zone is a waste of time.
Yes. In our opinion, anyway.
In our opinion. If you're trying to grow, and usually in this journey of life, you're trying to go somewhere. The comfort zone is a waste of time. And that's at least how I feel about it.
I
About
agree.
all those years that I just didn't do the thing that I actually wanted to do, but try to suppress it by whatever, it was a waste of time. And you know what, guys? Time is limited on this planet. We don't have so much time. Don't waste it. Do that thing that you actually want to do.
Yes.
Do it scared. Doesn't matter. The fear is going to be there. Doesn't matter. Do it anyway. You're going to only become a better person out of it.
I would take fear and uncomfortableness over being haunted with regret.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Halloween themed word, haunted with regret. But it's true. For me, I do not want to be left with regret, and I'm more afraid of that. Of not having made the most of my time, most of the years. I am still 33, but yeah, I don't want to be 45 and feel like, okay, I need to start now. Right? So for me, that's that. Use that as a motivation.
Yeah.
And start now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. So if you enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll be willing to share with your friends and family. And maybe you also feel inspired to take some action this Halloween. Scare the crap out of the fear that stops you from taking action.
Yeah. And feel free to give us a shout out on social media. God, that was not working. Oh my God. Yes.
It's almost midnight here, so we can
tell us what you learned from this episode, or
Yes.
if you want to give suggestions about next topics that you want to hear us discuss about. Just send us a message or tag us. We'd love to hear what you think of this.
Yes. And
yeah.
you can also check out our art on social media, but also our art products on Etsy. So please do pay a visit and support us. And also, if you did enjoy this episode, please leave a review on any of the podcast platforms you are listening on. And we hope you will join us again next time.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Toodles.
Bye.